I'll bring the meeting to order. Would everybody please rise and join the rest of us that have this meeting? And let's start off with the pledge of allegiance. The pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, John, Wilder, would you do the start pledge, please?
We, the descendants of the heroes of the American Revolution, by the sacrifices and efforts of the United States of America, we affirm our faith, principles of liberty, a constitutional republic, shall not ourselves and
well, actually, Eric, could you lead us in prayer?
Sure. Let us pray. Oh God, we ask your blessing upon the Sons of the American Revolution. Use the SAR, we pray, to open our eyes to your glory and to the opportunities that lie before us to serve you and our country. Grant the leaders of the Sons of the American Revolution wisdom and courage. Stir up in us the will to share joyfully in the work of our society. In your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Bill, would you lead us with the American creed?
I believe in the United States of America as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, with just powers are provided from the consent of government, of democracy and the republic, the sovereignty of many sovereign states, a perfect union, one inseparable, established upon those principles of freedom, equality, justice, humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and their fortunes. I therefore believe it's my duty, my country, love it, to support its constitution, to obey its laws, respect its flag, defend its interests.
Please be seated. Richard, didn't check and see any birthdays this month. You wanted to announce? Okay, go ahead and announce them.
I don't remember who they are. I sent you the list. I don't remember.
Yeah, I know. You sent me the list and.
There's a lot of it.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, happy birthday anyway. Okay, I'd like to introduce our guest, and we're honored to have the regent for the AR, Fawn McGee. And we're also honored to have Jeff Amundsen. Yep, just moved into this area, and he's a member in Michigan, and he's, I think he's beginning to fill out the transfer paper. Is that correct? And the first item on the agenda would be the color guard, Russ Gibson.
The man with the broken leg.
Yeah, it's just a FEMA.
Walking to it. Morning. Morning. Said it was good. For those of you who don't know, I was hacked yesterday while I was at the Verizon store. And my wife was home getting all of these emails and text messages saying that I slipped and fell because they're going to have surgery. I broke my hip. All of this while I was up and about at Verizon. Then they were asking for money. One guy went out to Publix, got me $200 gift certificates without telling his wife.
Ruh-roh.
What am I supposed to do with these gift certificates? I said, give them to your wife so she can put it towards next week's food. I'm alive and well, as you can see. Broken hip is all fixed. But it's not easy. Once you've been hacked, there's an awful lot of work you have to do on your computer. And I'm not a computer geek, so it's going to take a little longer. As far as I know, my email still works. As far as I know, my email still works. Other than that, as far as the color guard is concerned, our next event is REITs. It's not a color guard event. It's REITs across America, Bushnell National Summer. We haven't got all the information yet as to where we're going to be at Bushnell because they're changing the rules at Bushnell as to how and where people are going to meet. The next event is in February with President Dave and Juan McGee have other information on it. But it's the George Washington birthday ball on February 22nd, which happens to be Washington's birthday. And that's a big event, and we will be presenting the colors. We will not be posting the colors. Those of you who don't know the difference, these are posted. You understand? If you're only going to present the colors, the marching with the colors, come in, go out, go on, out, and you will present the colors. That's what we're going to do. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you very much. And I'm glad to be here. I've recovered. Thank you very much. And usually on this date, and I'm going to try and do my best, is I've been either attending in person or attending a party. Today is the Army Navy football game. And I've attended 15 of them. And it's an event you have to go to before you die. It should be on everybody's bucket list. So I'm going to try and go to the party that my wife and I are planning to go to. But we have some passwords to change. Thank you very much.
Bill,
Yes.
Bill, Mr. Marine Corps, you sit at the back table and we'll take the sit up where Richard is and we'll set you up over
You
there.
can sit here because I'm vacating.
Okay.
Yeah, go Army.
I got things to do. Oh, by the way, giving happy dollars today. I've already contributed my $10. Go Army, beat Navy.
You know, on that email that he was mentioning, I was on the phone with Bill Teeter because Bill Teeter got it, but when we were talking, you know, we got suspicious because it was asking for money. And anybody knows Bill, I mean, knows Russ, that's that's not kind of out of character for him. That was supposed to be funny. So we'll have to tickle you. Okay, the treasurer's report, please.
Morning, everyone.
Hey there.
Okay, getting right to the point. The income from last month was $4,261. Most of that was member dues, which is going to go back out this week. Expenses for last month is $1,716. We had a total overall plus of $2,544. And like I said, a lot of that's going to go for state and national dues that I have to pay out this week. We have 10 members who have not paid their dues yet. So I'll have to they'll have to be dropped and reinstated if they do pay. But, as soon as, get their payment, but other than that, fine. I'm not gonna, I already sent out letters, snail mail after my email, so they should all have received a letter. That's all I have for treasurer right now.
Well, the only thing
Okay, turn your.
Okay, is that okay, Vicky?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to go through this. Anyways, because of the holidays, we haven't had the executive board meetings. And in November, what we usually do is we set the budget for the coming year. So we did that on the we had a executive board meeting via well, it was partly YouTube, Zoom and over the phone and all that. So what we did basically is we just funded everything that we funded the previous year for the previous month. So there'll be no increase, you know, you know, yeah, I mean, we still have the programs, all the programs that we supported, and the amount of grease that we buy, the whole 9 yards is all the same. So that in March, the budget review committee can come in and they go through with Richard once a year to to review the books. Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept?
I make a motion to set the treasurer report.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None? Good. Tom? The secretary report.
Dropped a copy of the minutes off, 2 copies off for every table, so you've had an opportunity to read them. So are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Any additions or corrections? Any additions or corrections?
Well, somebody has to,
Make a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is Miss Vicky. Yeah, until next month, you're the registrar. Or Stephen's registrar. Yeah.
Okay, this is off the top of my head because I forgot to file today. We're pretty well up to date. They just now at National are starting to work on our applications that we submitted in September, which are going for next year's dues. So we have 5 of those there. I'm currently working with 2 people. Tom Hellam, I've lost track. I think he's working with at least 5 people. And before I got our meal paid for this morning, I had 2 members come up and say, I've got somebody new for you. So I think we're doing okay. It would be unfortunate if we lose those 10 members, but I think we're gonna at least take them up and hopefully let's go forward.
Thank you. And you know, Vicky is she's and Steve is they're resigning effective the first of next month. And you know, Vicky has done a super job with Steve. You know, I think the total count is since they took over, I think it's like 5 years ago, a little like 6 years ago. And it's like 65 or 66 people. Okay, that's the number that I just read. Okay, so that's verifiable. It is still a lot. You know what I mean? I think that was probably how many are sitting regular members, not including the applications that are up there. I don't know where the 66 came from. Actually, I thought it came from you. So can we give her a round of applause?
But I'm not going away. I'm still gonna be a helper. I'm still gonna help Tom.
Yeah, she's staying on as a consultant, but Tom Kellerman will be the, will be the registrar. Are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Get a raise.
thank you. And now, Tom, it's, can we, Tom is, in charge of our nomination committee, so. This is the part that's either gonna take a long time or a very short time.
Okay, again, this is, you each have 2 copies in your table. For anyone who wants another copy, I have plenty more copies here. This is the, report of the nominating committee report. The following candidates are nominated for the office specified: for President David Hitchcock, first Vice President John Kerry, second Vice President Stephen Brown, Treasurer Richard Bailey, and Secretary Tom Bowen. The Secretary and Chair of the Nominations Committee certifies that no further nomination were received by email, phone, or in person. Email was sent by President Hitchcock on October 16th, 2022 to all members asking for any further nomination to be sent. This is what the nominating committee has, so I'd like to ask for any further nominations from the floor for anyone in those offices, for the president. Any further nominations? Any further nominations? For first Vice President John Kerry, are there any further nominations? If you want to,
One more.
Gotta say it 3 times.
I said it too.
Oh.
I said it thanks.
Okay.
Great.
First Vice President John Kerry. Is there any further nominations for John Kerry? Any further nominations? Any further nominations for the first Vice President? Okay. Second Vice President, we have Stephen Brown nominated. Are there any further nominations? Any further nominations? Any further nominations? Treasurer Bailey, any further nominations? Further nominations? Any further nominations? The Secretary Tom Bowen, any further nominations? Further nominations for Secretary? Any further nominations for Secretary? We need a motion through the chair to close the nominations.
I make a motion to close the nomination.
Second. On favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And this would be the slate of candidates here for you to. You want to ask the assembly to cast a unanimous ballot. Well, there's no elections
I know.
because it's so you have to, I think you have to prove that, through the assembly that those people they're nominated, now they have to be elected.
That's correct.
Yep. I would ask for a motion through the chair for this slate of candidates to be duly elected to the chair. So anyone want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that all candidates be accepted as Steve.
I second.
Favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Yeah. All right.
You're going to pose yourself.
Thank you, Dave.
That's next year.
Turn your sound on.
I thought everybody could hear me under my breath. Yeah, is that okay, John? Okay, so now, we're gonna try some tricky technology here. We have a brief video. Should be there. There you go. Hit the arrow and it should start.
is also known as the American Revolutionary War and the U.S. War of Independence. This conflict was a result of growing tensions between the colonists living in the 13 colonies and the British Crown. The British created these tensions by passing many bills and laws that the colonists felt were violating their natural rights as British citizens. British citizens have the right to tax themselves. Therefore, the colonists thought that only their own colonial assemblies should be able to pass their taxes. When Parliament continued to pass more and more laws, such as the Sugar Act, Stamp Act, and Towns and Duty Acts, the colonists grew more and more upset. It is important to understand that the colonists were not angry that they had to pay the actual tax, as they were lower than the taxes in Britain. The colonists were angry at their denied access to a self-government. At first, independence was not a widespread idea. However, after the publication of several documents such as Thomas Paine's Common Sense, the colonists became more infuriated. Many people who were undecided, or thought that there was still a chance for reconciliation with Britain, were convinced that independence was their only option. This was especially shown after King George rejected the Olive Branch Petition. Once it became apparent that it was absolutely necessary to break the bonds with Britain, many events succeeded. After the meeting of the Second Continental Congress, the colonial militia became an officially funded army, the Continental Army. The army had early success at battles such as Bunker Hill and Concord. They later hit harder times, but eventually pulled through. They beat the largest and most powerful military force in the world, leading them to gain their independence. However, independence never would have been possible if it wasn't for the women of this time. Women took on many roles to achieve independence, playing a critical role in the success of the war. Some of these roles were traditional, while others were quite scandalous for the time. From going door to door to get other women to agree to a boycott of British goods, to supporting roles such as nurses, cooks, and maids, to more direct roles such as secret soldiers and spies, women were the behind-the-scenes work that made this war a success. These women, sometimes known as the Daughters of Liberty, did more than anyone had suspected and helped gain America its independence. Established in 1765, the Daughters of Liberty were a successful colonial American group consisting of women who showed their loyalty by participating in events such as boycotts of British goods. They refused to drink British tea and used their skills to weave their own cloth materials, making America less dependent on British textiles. The Daughters of Liberty proved that women could successfully be involved in politics. They helped to popularize ideas of rebellion and resistance. They signed agreements and pledges, swearing their allegiance to the Patriots and gaining support for the movement. Although nurses were not frequently used in the early days of the war, they became more necessary in 1777. According to the book, The Revolutionary War, many nurses were originally family members of soldiers, wives, daughters, and mothers who followed the war because they had struggled to support themselves at home after the men had left to go fight. While surgeons did most of the skilled medical duties, the work that the women performed was just as important, as it usually involved patient care. Women did mostly custodial work, feeding and bathing patients, emptying chamber pots, cleaning hospital wards, and cooking. None of this was pleasant work, but it was these essential actions that most people take for granted. According to the book, It's Our Military Too, women often came up with new inventions to help treat and care for patients. Becoming a nurse was a risky job. The mortality rate in hospitals for the sick, as well as the caregivers, was exceptionally high. However, the job offered food and pay, and many were brave enough to give their service despite the risks. Mary Waters was an important nurse in the war. She was a Dublin native who immigrated to Philadelphia and became an army nurse after the war broke out. She was on the verge of abandoning her profession of medicine when she was convinced to become a revolutionary nurse by Ferdinand Farmer. During the war, she worked tirelessly in hospitals for the American Army, earning the praise of one of the prominent patriots, Dr. Benjamin Rush. Another famous nurse was Mary Priestley, who served as a nurse on colonial warships, such as the ship the Defense in 1777. Priestley was one of only 4 nurses on the ship who were responsible for caring for over 100 wounded soldiers. Employment as a Revolutionary nurse was a demanding, harsh, and risky job, but it is one that the war could not have been a success without. More popular occupations for women during the war were seamstresses, cooks, and maids. These, among laundresses and water bearers, were the first time that women held these positions in the military, as they were usually reserved for male soldiers. Just like with the nurses, many of these women were poor wives, daughters, and mothers who followed the soldiers. Since most of these women were accustomed to doing housework anyways, they were well suited for the positions. An example of one of these women was Margaret Corbin of Philadelphia. She followed her husband, John Corbin, to the army, where he enlisted in the 1st Company of the Pennsylvania Artillery as a maîtresse, someone who loads and fires cannons. During the Battle of Fort Washington in November of 1776, Margaret was with her husband on the battlefield when he was suddenly killed. Because the cannon was then unmanned, Margaret took the cannon and continued firing until she was injured herself. The colonists lost the battle, but continued to make progress. Corbin became the first woman to earn a pension for her service in the Revolutionary War. She inspired many other women to take part in the struggle for independence. Women like Margaret, who stood up to the challenge and stepped in when they were needed, were critical points in the war. According to major problems in the era of the American Revolution, 1760 to 1791, edited by Richard D. Brown on page 297, patriots were skeptical about giving women official status in the Army. Washington objected to a fixed quota of women, but the women followed nevertheless. Many women served as secret soldiers. These female soldiers generally disguised themselves by cutting their hair, binding their breasts with bandages, and adopting masculine names. The reasons for doing this varied, but most women related to young, poor, unmarried women who joined to earn money for their families or just to have the opportunity to fight for America's independence. Some famous female soldiers include Deborah Sampson from Massachusetts, who fought under the alias of Robert Shirtliff in 1781 and served for over a year before being discovered, and Anne Bailey of Boston, who enlisted in 1777 under the alias Sam Gay and was promoted to corporal before her identity was discovered just weeks later, leading to her arrest and imprisonment. After her release, Bailey signed up and served as a soldier again. Many women were amazing leaders in the Army, leading men to victories. Some women took on even riskier roles during the war and became spies. It is not known exactly how many women participated. According to the National Women's History Museum website, most female spies worked as cooks and maids for the British military camps, where they eavesdropped on conversations about troop movements, military plans, supply shortages, and deliveries. Because the war was fought on farms, city streets, and the front of many American homes, women spies were easily able to carry the information back without detection. Not much is known about the women spies of Massachusetts because they did not have a central spy system during the siege of Boston like they did later on in New York. This lack of organization helped to make it harder for women spies to be caught. When the war moved to New York, the Army set up the Culper Spy Ring and created the spy name 335 specifically for women spies working within the ring. One famous female revolutionary spy was Hannah Blair, a Quaker from North Carolina. Blair had a farm where she would hide and protect patriots, supplied food and medical help to revolutionary soldiers hiding in the woods from loyalist raiders, mended uniforms, and carried secret messages. When the loyalists discovered what she was doing, they burned down her farm. However, after the war, Congress compensated her for her loss by giving her a pension for her service. It was not only men who risked their lives for independence. Women played a large role during the war. Clothing and other materials were needed to clothe Patriot soldiers, so women got together to spin and sew uniforms. When militias appealed to the public for uniforms and food, homespun garments and farm crops came from patriotic women. Women stepped forward to fill holes left by wounded or killed soldiers and performed tasks that were formerly left only for men, such as farming and running a business. Many men would have returned to bankruptcy after the war had it not been for the efforts of their wives. Without women, male soldiers would not have the necessary amounts of clothes or food, reinforcements, and secret information during the fighting. Not only would they have lost the war, they would have left the economy in a broken state. Some of these women were recognized for their service with pensions and pay. A few, such as Deborah Sampson, even wrote memoirs about their service. Still, many were never rewarded for the sacrifices they made towards American independence, including their lives. These women took on many selfless roles to achieve independence, risking everything, and were the central reason that the war was a success and Americans have freedom today.
He was born Gilbert de Motier de Lafayette, a direct descendant of bold French knights who fought in the Crusades and alongside
And with that,
Can't hear you.
I thought that was the third. One thing that,
Dave, turn your sound on.
oh, yeah. At home, if I speak above a whisper, I get in trouble. Here, no matter, I'd have to scream. And well, anyways, but one of the spies that we had was a lady that from Long Island, and she used to send messages of what, and she was housing the British, and she used to send messages out by the color of the laundry of the underwear that she hung out on the line, and the British never found out about that, and she was very, very successful. So.
Good morning. As you said, I'm Fawn McGee. I'm the Regent of Fort Cooper chapter, and SDAR. And I came up with this idea for a fundraiser for our chapter. So hear ye, come one and all to George Washington's birthday ball. This ball is exclusive to the DAR and the SAR. This is a fundraiser event. Monies raised will cover our scholarships. We have a $1,000 scholarship for each of the high schools, Citrus, Lecanto, and Crystal River High School. And then we just added another $500 scholarship to women in the trades, which Dawn Lemongello, when she was our state regent, she had started this, and we decided we wanted to continue that. So that'll go to a woman who's primarily learning a trade that men normally do at the Withlacoochee Technical Institute. If it's still, I don't know if they changed their name to Withlacoochee College or what, but and also the monies will go towards my Regent project, which is a DAR America 250 Patriot marker. And the city of Inverness agreed no, actually, they came up with the location. I had originally asked them if I could put the marker in Liberty Park. And they suggested that I put it in their memorial, or their military service memorial park, which is right next to the government building in Inverness. And, so it's gonna go, the marker will be on the wall. They just approved it. The marker has been approved by the Historian General and National, and the order is already in for its production. Invitations went out to the SAR and DAR officers, state officers. They probably should have received them already or should be shortly. So the event takes place here at Citrus Hills Golf and Country Club in the Hampton Room. And it will start off with a social hour. There'll be a cash bar, and then there's going to be a photographer there with a colonial backdrop, so people can go and get pictures taken in their, because the dress is formal attire or colonial attire if you have it. Then there'll be a more about the photographer. Okay, so she for fundraisers, depending on how many people get their photographs taken, she's going to give back to the organization. So her packages are $25, so you can get 2 5x7s, or you can get 3 4x6s, or 1 8x10. And so she charges $25, and part of that she'll give back to the organization that do fundraisers. So that's a good deal. Plus she prints them out right there, so you don't have to wait for it to arrive. Then there'll be a short DAR ritual where they'll have the presentation of the colors from the SAR, the Lukuchi chapter. And then following that will be dinner. And our planning committee has chosen the French buffet. It has a choice of 3 entrees. It'll be chicken cordon bleu, baked tilapia almondine, sliced sirloin topped with béarnaise sauce. It also includes Caesar salad with potatoes, haricot vert, which I meant to look that up because I have no idea what that is. Anybody here know what that is? Oh. Yes, thank you. And French petite plain rolls and butter, and for dessert it will be bread pudding with a bourbon glaze. And after dinner, you'll meet George and Martha Washington, and they're going to tell us about their love story. And they have several different themes to pick from, but I thought since it's, Valentine's Day was not too far from the date of this fall, that would be a good theme for them to tell us about. And after the program, there will be contra, line, or circle dancing. And then we're going to have a dance caller giving out instructions just in case you've never done these kind of dance before. I haven't, and or you've forgotten. So our caller is going to be Bonnie Wilder, and so we'll be dancing. We have a DJ who's going to be getting waltzes and minuets music together for this. So tickets are $60 a person. The first 216 people will be attending. To help cover costs and keep the ball simple, we're only going to have a 50-50 raffle. We decided against having a bunch of gift baskets to raffle off. And then we're going to be soliciting sponsors from different businesses, which I'm going to start on Monday, hitting some businesses to see if they would like to sponsor our fundraiser. And this is a good time of year because a lot of businesses may be looking for tax deductible donations, you know, at the end of the year. And we're also having table sales. So if you have 10 of your closest friends, you all want to sit together, it's $100 for a table of 10. So that's an additional $10 per person. If you want to look at it that way. But your chapter has already bought a table. Thank you very much. And let's see. Oh, so if you know of any businesses that donate to these type of events, let me know and I'll add them to my list. So this is a first time event for us, and please come and help us make it a successful one. A great time will be had by all. And I have tickets if you have your checkbooks with you and you'd like to buy a ticket, I have them with me today. Thank you very much.
Do you have anything, John? Offered it.
Yeah, this is a
He's trainable, but.
I'm telling you. You know what's really nice about it is 12 and counting, 12, 11, 10. Hey, one good thing about going out and trying and approaching businesses, this year they may tell you, well, you know what, we spent our allotment. Well, guess what? Thank you very much, and just go back after the first of the year. Because they haven't spent their allotment yet. That's cold, isn't it? But it's true. I used to run into that. I put on a lot of golf tournaments. And they say, well, we've allotted that much. We have that set aside. And I said, well, maybe next year. Fortunately, this is December. Next year is next month. So, we can time them. The next item on my agenda is, Bill, you've got about 45 minutes.
I don't need that much. I don't have that much to talk about.
We're going to do Bill's in charge of the Veterans Christmas program. So.
Good morning.
Morning.
Dave is done most of the coordinating. I had other issues, but the Christmas party is going to be indoors at the home in Land O'Lakes, State Veterans Nursing Home. However, and we're going to be inside, but they're limiting us to the number of people that can go. So unfortunately, it's not open to all the members. That's a little bit disappointing, but I understand. We've just gone over 2 years where we've not been able to go inside at all because of the COVID situation. And they're being very cautious with what's going on because COVID still is around. As you know, it is. As a matter of fact, I understand that California just yesterday had 3,000 new cases. So it's still there. It still exists. So it's going to be at 10 o'clock at the home on December 20th, which is this coming Thursday. We have already the 10 people that are going because we have representatives that have to be there from Walmart and so on who are also giving gifts. Again, I want to thank everybody for adopting the veterans that don't have families and the presence trickling in. Like I said, the last month, this is the first year ever, in 16 years we've been doing this, this is the first year ever that in the month of October, when we presented the list of veterans without families, that the list was completely taken in that meeting. So thank you very much. There's no food going to be allowed into the home at all. In contact and communications. In the past, I would go down, we found out that there's two things that they enjoyed. One, you can buy these big jugs, plastic jugs of puff balls. That's my word. I don't know if that's the technical word. The puff balls or the sugar balls. Okay. And used to get a couple of those from Walmart, and some other people would bring one or two. And the other one was the tin of popcorn that had divider that had three. I used to buy a bunch of those. I used to buy those as well. But we can't do that this year. So, and the reason they can't do it is because they used to just put them in a bowl or just put their jug out. And the guys used to go in and take it as they want. They don't want everybody's hands dipping into the till, so to speak. So there's still restrictions is what I'm ready to say. We do have the choir from the DAR. You're still called Rangerettes? Cooperettes, I'm sorry. Cooperettes. Why did I get the Rangerettes? Maybe I'm thinking of Radio City Music Hall. Anyway, the Cooperettes, and they sang 3 years ago. And entertained. I think there was like seven ladies that was there that time, and everybody enjoyed it, even the aides. So we appreciate that. Thank you. Are there any questions about the home, the visits? I would encourage everyone to be there early. What we do for those who have never gone through this, and I know we're a limited number of people, but just let you know for the future. What we do is we try to get there early. We unload all the presents. They bring out some dollies for us. And we take the presents, put them on the dollies, and then we stand all the dollies in front, and then people that are visiting all stand behind it. We take photographs and make a photo session for the home as well as for us. So that's why we want everybody there early. And I don't know what room we're going to go into. They have a lot of activity rooms there. The last two that we went, they had us in the D wing, which is the dementia wing. But I'm not sure they're going to do that this time. The D wing is kind of it's a difficult wing to leave because the doors are locked. And so you can't get out and you can't get in unless one of the aides are there to unlock, put in the combination that lets you in or out. So you're kind of there. We were in another wing for many years in that other wing. The same wing they have the morning bingo in. And that wing was great. It was easy access to the hallway and the main entrance into the room, or excuse me, into the building. So we were able to go in with gifts, have it all there, and then we were able to get out and not disturb anybody. Because of the limited number of people, there will not be tours offered unless we get Johanna to maybe make an exception for at least the 10 people that are going to be there. So, any questions on the home, on the visit? Yes, sir.
What was the date again?
The date is this coming Thursday, the 20th.
It's not the
Week
20th.
after.
That's not the 20th.
That's not the 20th. The 20th is the day.
Today is the 10th, it's the 20th.
Week and a half.
Okay, yeah. Okay, it's the 20th, right?
Yeah, it's the 20th.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Whatever the calendar is. We got a calendar. I'm sorry.
We can get to be my age, Billy.
Mine's the first thing to
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I don't got far behind you, I can tell you that. For those who have brought Christmas presents or having Christmas presents here, part of the tent going down and getting a Christmas present to someone else, the receipts. Again, if you wish to have a reimbursement, get your receipt to Richard, not to me. Okay, Richard will make sure that you get your receipt, and then Richard will give the receipt totals to me. Sorry, I need that for the start report. If you don't care for a reimbursement for the gifts for the veterans of our families, just give me your receipts directly. Okay, and I'll just put them in the envelope, and I use them all for the start report. Now, I'm done on that issue, other than I'm going to another topic. Right now, Dave and I are working on what month we're going to have another presentation of medals, awarded medals for veterans. Probably looks like March or February or March.
Well, actually, at the, massing of the colors, I talked to Fawn, and I didn't know you were bringing it up. But, and what we talked about, Fawn, I think was, in March, to have like a joint meeting.
Yeah.
And at that particular time, we would be
Okay.
presenting.
So that would be at the March meeting.
Yeah,
The reason I'm bringing that up is I'm trying to give people enough notice such that we would have attendance there, because we have a lot of medals still to hand out. We only gave out over 50% of the medals that are that should be awarded, but people just didn't show up or weren't planning that other activities to go to or whatever. So we still have a fair number of medals to give out.
Yeah, I'm planning a Vietnam War commemoration at my March meeting.
Okay. I'm not sure how many more Vietnam veterans we have to give medals to. We have other medals.
Okay.
Okay.
We've got a couple minutes.
Yeah, let me think here. Yeah, that's a good one. So I got, I think I'm finished. Whatever it was, it wasn't, I did that.
Okay, if you think of it,
I will.
you know, this is, last month we had the longest meeting in recorded.
We
Yes.
did.
In this month, you're gonna be glad you came.
Yeah, last month was long, but we had a lot to give away, yeah. And again, we only gave away just over 50% of the medals, or gave out almost 50% of the medals. So it was a long meeting, and I stood up here. I was sympathizing with everybody out there, but there's no seats after a while. We get fine. So, okay. Hey, good. All yours, Dave.
Shortest meeting?
Is, one thing I wanted to bring up.
Turn your mic on.
Well, I can't get in the habit of speaking up because when I get home, my wife has super sensitive hearing.
There's a pattern developed in here.
When I close the door out here in the parking lot, we live in Spring Hill, she can hear the door close. Trust me. Am I lying?
I don't know.
No. You know, she's,
She's never yelled at me.
no, but she, you know, she hears really well. Okay, but what I need, and the sooner the better, is, somebody to take the responsibility for the poster contest. We have one school, Hernando Elementary, and it's not Hernando County, it's up here in Spring, in Hernando, Florida. That's entered into the poster contest, and I have been in contact with the art teacher, and you know, through email, because Larry can't do it anymore. He can't. And then Chris Faust, he's dropped out for some reason, and I don't know if he's moved away. I don't know what the story is. He didn't answer the call, but I need somebody that can. All you have to do is just, you know, work with the teacher, and by working with the teacher, I mean when she gets ready, you know, to help judge the poster, and so if anybody is willing to step up to the plate, I'd be willing to accept them. John, it'd be better off with somebody up here in Citrus County, to be honest with you, you know, because you live down by me. That's, huh? Hernando Elementary. It's
North end of Crow.
Down the street from Saw's Talks, if you know that.
That's interesting.
I know where the school is. I mean, I know how to get there because I had to go pick up the posters and then deliver the checks, because actually the person who won the school contest and won the chapter contest, also was a state contest winner. So, you know, I know on 44, there's a street, I don't know if you were around here a long time ago, but where Carroll had its pavement, they made a big shopping mall. There's a street that goes up the hill, and I don't know the name of it.
South Broad.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
on South Broad.
Okay, yeah, it's out there about 4 miles on the right-hand side. So if, one of our Scissors County members would like to step up to the plate, that would be really, really nice, because what I'd like to do is get somebody in Hernando County to start going into the schools and see if we can't get, it's usually,
Can we get, any help from Mark Johnson on that? To get into some of these schools?
I don't know. Mark, you know, I've talked to Mark, he won the election, he's on a cruise.
He said
So-
he'll be in a meeting in January.
Right, and we'll try, but you need more, he's on the school board, and that could help us get in the door, but we've got to have somebody that's willing to go through the door. You know what I mean? It's not, you know, and he's not, matter of fact, it might be inappropriate for him to do it being a school board member, I don't know. You know, I really don't know. Here's one you can raise your hand for, there you go, now we got a member. There you go, sold.
Honored.
Okay. The essay contest, the night's essay contest, is Charlie is, he usually attends through Zoom, and, he's up in Connecticut, but he'll be coming down, and I think he and Norman are still, handling that for this year. And we'd like to get some school participation in Hernando County too. Right now, we only have, actually, when it's not, it's a homeschool. So,
I think it's been homeschooling every year for past 3 or 4 years.
yeah, it has been. Yeah.
We've had some national winners there too.
You know, we're blessed to have them. I mean, and, from what I understand from Charlie is the lady that, has actually approached other homeschool programs and, you know, today's time, I think not too many people interested. Well, that's all I have. If we can,
I got a couple of items.
go ahead.
If you brought presents for the veterans, that's what the file over here in the corner is for. So during the break, you can bring them in from the car, or you can keep them out, bring them in to the front, and I'll pick them up and put them in my car and take them home, or take it from there. So that, and the last item, as Russ has already mentioned it briefly, Reach Across America. If you haven't been to that program, that's a fantastic program. I would advise everybody to get there very, very early. They do have seats for everybody, but they fill up fast. So, I would suspect, we always leave early. We try to be there by 8:30, 9 at the absolute latest, even though the program doesn't start till 10. Normally the SAR is, if you're looking at the, I don't want to call it a stage, but it's actually a pavilion area. We're over to the right-hand side, way up in the upper right-hand corner. That's where normally you'll see the SAR people that are gathered. That's where they'll be. So that in the past, that's where we were always at. So again, presents if you have them, Reach Across America. And if you're going to go to the Veterans Home, which many of you won't, but those who will be going, please get there early so we can get all the presents unloaded and get the pictures taken before we go in. Okay.
Okay, one thing I want to bring up about the Reach Across America, it's changed.
Oh, it has?
Yeah, and I was talking with Kathy and Jim Eklund last night, okay, and they gave me a name of a lady named Dee Dee something or other, and she's coordinating the Reach Across America, because we've been, the last couple of years, last 2 or 3 years, we've been, doing it with the, Reach Across America with the for corporate DAR. And previously, what they've been doing is they've been assigning, Fort Cooper with, I think the last couple of years has been like, section 301. And from what they said this year is the powers to be have changed everything. So, I'm supposed to get a hold of Dee Dee and I don't remember her last name.
Wilcox.
Yeah, Wilcox, exactly. And she's, from what I understand from Jim, is they're planning on meeting at 44 and 41 in Inverness and all been out together because there's no assigned areas. And that would keep the two chapters together so that we could, and they want to meet at 7:45. So you're right about, they want to have everybody get here early.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is as soon as I can get with Dee Dee and get the plan, I'm going to send an email out to everybody. And I'm assuming, and I know what assume means. Everybody does get the email from Dave, president of the Sons of American Revolution, right? Is anybody that doesn't? Going one, oh, yeah, you do. You get it, you just don't read it.
Didn't get it again.
Well, Bill has a problem with his email because, we went through this and I sent him a test email and it seemed to work, but every once in a while it doesn't work, but I'll send that email out to everyone.
And the Reach Across America is next Saturday, right? Week from today.
Hmm?
Week from today is the Reach Across America.
Yeah, it is. 17, so, and one of the reasons that I started off with that movie is because the underlying message is, back in the Revolutionary War, the women were right by our side, and I'd like us to support the local DAR chapter in the same fashion. It's our turn to support them. Now we're going to break for lunch.
Low enough. Crowd,
Last time I heard about Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start early. Can you hear me? Yes, sir. And I'm going to get killed.
You deserve it.
That's true.
If that's gonna spread, grapevine through women, spread, if you will pay.
What did you say?
Women have a great,
Grapevine.
grapevine. When you sitting here putting down a woman's gonna spread. We're all gonna pay.
Yeah. You deserve it. Is that loud enough?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had one more thing. What was it we were going to bring up?
Newsletters and happy dollars. That was all we had.
Just letting you the report.
Well, just that our two local newspapers are the Nano Sun and the Citrus Chronicle, and the Citrus Chronicle now you have to fill out, their form, and then you hit send, and then you never hear anything.
Yep.
Okay, it didn't hear anything, so for a while, so I wrote the managing editor, an email, a nice email, a bit of a complaint email that, what's happened, and then got no response. Anyway, we'll keep doing it, see what happens.
Oh. Thank you. Now, is there any new business that anybody wants to bring up? No. Go ahead.
EBM for January, I'm gonna put the ad in Hernando Sun for the EBM to do the open house. So we'll have that running in January. So show up for the EVMs.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next EBM is Saturday, January 28th.
Yes. And we're skipping December.
We voted on that,
Yep.
because of the holidays.
Makes sense.
Is anything else in the old business? Going once, going twice. And welcome to the shortest meeting of the year. It's Happy Dollars time.
Bill, I suggest you read Chariot of God. I got the on Chariot of God. Read the book. Tiki, when you stay in Africa, read both. Stuff, that's what you got, but the next one will be.
Yeah.
Central America.
Still
A lot of the customs and stuff.
It's been fundraising is, 50 years ago.
I've got five, wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and, also, Mary Ann and I will be celebrating our 6th wedding anniversary on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. He's both still breathing too.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to counter Russ's statement because Russ is home trying to figure out how Army's going to be, maybe.
See here.
Not yet.
Okay. On several December days, it was my mother, my brother, my sister, and also the birth of Jesus. So have a Merry Christmas to everyone. Anything you're happy for? $50 or more. That's pretty funny. All done, Dave? Did I miss anybody?
No.
Us.
Pretty old. Hey, Bill. If, Richard wants to go to the Christmas party.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna get a hold of, Bill Moore and see if he's gonna go, so I don't call Richard.
Well, Bill the new.
There's no flags. But.
Temporary. I used to put them in each. Yeah. Oh. What did I?
Anything below 32.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
there you go. That's the sound I was looking for. Okay, the next meeting is, when's the next meeting? February what?
January.
Oh, yeah, January. Richard.
Next year. I'm looking.
Second Saturday in January.
Yeah.
Next meeting is the 10th. That next meeting, you didn't change it.
Okay.
Let me look.
Well, the next meeting is the second Saturday in January.
Right.
And the next EBM is the 20th.
14th.
14th.
Thank you.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you all can stand. And, yeah, it's done. Would you like to lead it to the sectional session? Don't have a dumb fight. Until we. My
I can't keep up.
Just like in church, you get everybody standing and.
Yeah, I got.